talk about the kickoff of the 54th anniversary of the Pride Parade. Before we get into the talking points around public safety as it relates to the parade, I'd like to introduce everyone that we have up here. First, 44th Ward Alderman Bennett Lawson, our Chief of Patrol John Hine, our CPD Director of Equity and Engagement Mike Milstein, 19th District Commander Amin Jasani, and also up here with us we have our Pride organizers, Steve Long, Tim Fry, and Alex Riolo. Just want to make sure that I say that right. And lastly, we also have our LGBTQ plus liaisons who are going to be out there. So let me just start by saying this. This parade kicks off every year, and last year was no different, and it went off really well. The parade itself goes off well every year. It's the events that occur afterwards, and we're going to get into that. Before we get started with that part of it, I'd like to talk a few things about safety. One of the things that we're expecting is 94, 95 degree weather this weekend. That's always tough along the parade route. You're talking conditions where people can become dehydrated, pass out. Along that parade route, where we will have plenty of officers lined up so that you can go to them if you have an emergency situation, be it public safety or someone has fallen ill, gotten sick, passed out, or just needs some type of assistance. There are markers along the parade route where they can look up and they can give an exact location of where they are. That's going to help us find whoever's looking for that emergency assistance. So let's make sure that everyone understands that there's a way to get help to you immediately if you look up and you look at those markers. And if you see something along the route, criminal activity, someone who's in need of emergency assistance, someone who's sick, please make the call, call 911, let us know exactly where you are and we'll get someone there immediately. The first and foremost, the safety of everyone along this route is our first priority as the Chicago Police Department. We're going to make sure that we do that. Now, we work along with OEMC, our Office of Emergency Management, and the fire department. We work in lockstep with them to make sure that these things go off well. So it's not just the police department, but the partnership with the other agencies who help us get to those locations quicker. And then if we need to call for assistance, for help, someone who's in need of an ambulance, we're there to do that. So that partnership works really well. We also work closely with our aldermen. Anything that's needed, any communication. Working along with the organizers has always been a great way of communicating to make sure that all of the rules are followed and any expectations are met. We are going to have sufficient resources, not only along the parade route, but after the parade is over in Lakeview and Lincoln Park. We want to make sure that what we've seen in the past, where we've had people who have come into the neighborhood after the party is over and they engage in violent acts, they engage in vandalism, they engage in reckless conduct. That's not something that we're going to tolerate, all right? People have the right to have peace in their communities and their neighborhoods. When you come out to a parade, you should be coming out to have fun, enjoy the festivities, see everything that's going on, and then enjoy the rest of your day peacefully. We're not going to tolerate people who come down after the parade to take over the streets, to engage in that reckless behavior, fight, and in some cases, bring weapons. Last year, we made 52 arrests. We will do the same if we have to. We don't want to make arrests if we don't have to. If we don't have to make arrests, that means that the day went well and everybody behaved the way that they were supposed to. We want everyone to enjoy the festivities of the parade. We want them to enjoy the neighborhood, the restaurants, the party venues, wherever you're going to go. But but we want you to do it peacefully and we want you to follow the law. So just let me be clear about one thing. If you come down to break the law, Chicago Police Department is going to hold you accountable. Right? I'll say that one more time. If you come down to break the law, we will hold you accountable. So everyone has the right to be safe, and we're going to make sure that that happens. Again, I want to thank Alderman Lawson for just the communication across the board. Because of the communication last year, we had a much better parade and a much better ending than we had the year prior. So I expect the same this year, and the communication has been great. So I just want to say thank you, Alderman, for that. With that, I'm now going to bring up the Deputy Director, Mike Milstein, to talk to you more about some of the resources that can be provided during the parade. Mike?
Thank you, Superintendent. And I just want to also express our gratitude to the Center on Halsted for hosting us in their space today. I just want to take a quick moment to highlight some of the work that CPD is doing to better support and engage with our LGBTQ+ community across the city. CPD has actually partnered this year with the Center on Halsted to develop an in-person training that every officer across this department is going to be receiving by the end of this year. This training goes beyond the basics. It's actually designed to help deepen officers' understandings of the LGBTQ+ community and equip them with the tools to serve individuals in more supportive and meaningful ways. And while CPD has done LGBTQ+ training in the past, this actually marks the most comprehensive and meaningful curriculum to date specific to the LGBTQ+ community. What sets it apart is that it's actually informed by real and lived experiences from community itself, ensuring that what our officers learn is actually grounded in truth, dignity, and relevance. And we understand how critical this training is as we continue shaping a future that's rooted in fairness, respect, and trust. It gives our officers the opportunity to better understand how to foster trust and progress with the LGBTQ+ community. So again, I just want to express our deepest gratitude to the Center on Halsted for their leadership and partnership with us in developing this curriculum and for their sharing of wisdom and expertise with us throughout this process. We're also proud to highlight that since 2021, the Chicago Police Department has established LGBTQ+ liaisons who are up here with us today. These are both sworn officers and non-sworn civilian members of our team who help to serve as bridges between CPD and LGBTQ+ communities and individuals, organizations, and neighborhoods all across our city. These liaisons help ensure that our department remains responsive, informed, and proactive in meeting the needs of the queer community. And moments like this really underscore the progress that we've been making in helping to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the LGBTQ+ community. This Sunday, as our CPD members will walk in the Pride Parade, we're reminded of how far we've come, but of also how much more work that we still have to do. And we remain committed to doing that work. We remain ready to listen, ready to learn, and ready to grow so that every person in Chicago, especially our LGBTQ+ members of our city, can feel safe, respected, and supported by the Chicago Police Department. So with that, I will now turn it over to Alderman Bennett Lawson for the 44th report.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Superintendent, and thank you for everyone for being here. I also want to specifically thank our partners in this work with CPD, OEMC, Streets and Sanitation, Fire, EACP, Finance, DCASE, Buildings, Public Health, and CTA, and so many more that work to make this day a success and safety for all of us. Especially to make this weekend's Pride Parade joyful and safe and welcoming for all. I want to thank the volunteer organizers of Pride Chicago who are here and recognize this year's theme, United in Pride, a powerful reminder that when we stand together in solidarity, we can create a more inclusive and compassionate city for everyone. Our unity is more important now than ever as we face new and renewed threats to our rights and to our community. For 54 years, the Chicago Pride Parade has brought together millions of people in celebration of LGBTQ+ life, love, and culture, and resilience in our neighborhood. It's one of the city's most beloved traditions and one that reminds us just how vibrant and diverse our community is. This year, we're especially proud to celebrate our Grand Marshals, Task Force Prevention and Community Services, providing support for LGBT youth of color, specifically on the West Side, for over 30 years. And Dr. Maya Green and Dr. Catherine Credicos for their critical work said, CPD will have a high presence along both the parade route and throughout the surrounding neighborhood, including officers from across our city and beyond our local 19th district. We've worked closely together on communication, staffing, and coverage to reflect the needs of the area's residents and address concerns we know from previous years. Additional safety efforts include street closures beginning early Sunday morning, cooling buses for parade goers, medical tents along the route, and designated crossover points for safe crowd movement. We've been collaborating extensively with local businesses, bars, and agencies to help manage crowds and prevent unauthorized gatherings. We've requested additional infrastructure, like some barriers to stay in place overnight, and business affairs will be conducting checks to ensure alcohol is being served responsibly. Our top priority is a safe, respectful celebration for everyone, including both during and after the parade. To our residents, thank you for your patience with road closures and parking restrictions. Your cooperation and support of this event that adds so much to our city and neighborhood means so much to all of us. My staff and I will be out bright and early at 5 a.m. on Monday, the next morning, in the streets and sand, working promptly to clean up the neighborhood. To the LGBT community, thank you for your courage, your creativity, and your ongoing fight for equality, especially in the face of attacks across this country. As we come together, again, let's remember this year's theme, United in Pride. Let's celebrate who we are, protect one another, stay hydrated and cool, and enjoy a weekend that reflects the very best of Chicago. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions. Let's start, Ray. You have a question?
Yeah, has there been any collaboration with federal agencies like DHS, and has it changed at all from previous years?
No, listen, when it comes to, our work with federal agencies, especially the Joint Terrorism Task Force, when we're talking about parade routes, large events like this, we coordinate with them regularly. We want to know if there's a possibility of any threats out there so that we can get out in front of it. We prepare for these things. We're talking to everyone behind the scenes to make sure that we can stop any possible threat before it starts. But we also do it for awareness. We want to make sure that everyone is safe. If we get something that we think is, or that we know is credible, we're going to make sure that we plan around that to keep everyone safe. So we know when threats come in, and we know the concerns, especially around a parade like this, right? We know that when people are willing to commit hate crimes, these are the things that we're looking at. These are the things that we're digging into, and we make sure that we have our finger on the pulse of any threats that may be out there so that we can respond to those.
Makes sense. Now, let's go this way.
Two parts. Are there any known credible threats at this point that CPD is aware of?
At this time, no. I mean, look, anytime you have a parade like this, anytime you have events of large scale, you'll always get information about certain things. We take all of it seriously. But when we're looking at the larger threats at this time, no. I think everybody should go out and enjoy the parade, have a great time, because one of the points of terrorism is to change your way of life or your way of thinking and have you live in fear. We here, as the Chicago Police Department, we're here to help make sure that everyone can go out and enjoy themselves and enjoy the fruits of everything that this country has to offer.
Bouncing off that for the superintendent or the alderman, I'm curious what you're hearing from residents, even members of the LGBTQ plus community leading up to this. Obviously, you mentioned the climate is a little different this year. Is there anxiety? Is there maybe more excitement to come out, and put on a big celebration? I'm curious what you're hearing.
Well, here, I'll say this and then I'll turn it over to the alderman. I've had conversations with the alderman about these concerns, and CPD is quite aware of it, and I'll let the alderman.
Great, thank you. I think you're right, it's both. People that have additional concerns given the national environment, and people who feel the need to be part of Pride because of the national environment. What I've told people is that we have never taken this parade for granted when it comes to safety. We have updated constantly the entire 20 years I've been involved, learning from other parades and other incidents, whether that was in Boston or in Nice or New Orleans, right? And so that's always been a factor for us. I think the weather may be a bigger determinant on the crowd than the spirit, but we'll be ready for both. Yeah, thank you.
My question is either for the superintendent or deputy director. I'm just curious, even if you don't have an exact number, maybe even if this
again, we look at anything that we think are possible threats. We make sure that we have intersections and locations covered, any locations that could be soft targets. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we have enough officers who are spread out across the entire route of the parade to make sure that we can have someone who responds quickly. So to give you an exact number, I can't really give you an exact number, but we do have an adequate number of officers who are out there to cover this parade. We also have an adequate amount of numbers to come in and relieve those officers so that when we get into the later hours of the night, our officers who have been standing out in the heat all day can get a breather and we bring in some fresh bodies.
Yes, Superintendent, recently we had a woman drove through a protest downtown. What is the department doing this weekend to ensure that this doesn't happen? What are the safety barriers or the safety measures that are in place?
So here's what I'll tell you. That was more of a spontaneous type of protest. This is something that we've been planning around, and we plan around these things all year. And when we know what the footprint is around a location like this, we can look at those locations to make sure that we don't have traffic flowing into the parades. We work along this all the time. When you saw that particular day, it was a pop-up protest where people broke off into fragmented places and started to walk around. So it was a little harder at that time to get control of one situation that could occur like that. But I can guarantee you the Chicago Police Department is making sure that we have all of those avenues covered.
Yeah.
Are days off canceled for officers this weekend?
Yes, at this point, yes, we're making sure that we have enough manpower for our officers because look, in this type of weather, this type of heat, we need to make sure that our officers who are out there standing all day, responding to calls, responding to situations, that we have enough officers to give them a break, enough officers to come in and relieve those officers who have been out there all day. People don't necessarily realize how much it takes out of a human being to stand out there with the amount of equipment that they're wearing and to stand there and try to protect. We want to make sure that those, on a cognitive level, those officers are well and sound.
John?
Do you have a sense of how many arrests there were the year prior?
I'm sorry, what was that?
How many arrests there were not last year, but the year prior to that?
That, I don't have that number, but we can get that to you. But last year was 52.
Any specific vulnerabilities or problems that you've identified from last year or the year before that you have made changes for this year particularly?
Nothing specific, but when we see things, if we see something that pops up that we need to make some changes, we can make those changes on the spot. That one of the things that I can tell you is that Chief of Patrol here, John Hine, is always on top of these things. He's very well versed in it. I have nothing but admiration for the work that he does and complete confidence. So anytime something changes, we sit down and we work that out if we have to do that. But right now, everything is going according to plan. CBD will be out there and our officers will do and respond the way that they always